are we now? And welcome to part 3 of the SV650 rebuild. Been in a lot of consultation with my son, talking about different ways that we can make this a one-off. Plans are afoot, parts are on order, so let's see how it goes. As said in the previous video, the carburetors are in very good condition. Cleaned them up, checked them through, they're fine, no problems whatsoever. As you can see from this part of the video, the frame has been polished at some stage in its life, but unfortunately 6 years sitting outside, no lacquer on it. You can see the sort of damage that it's done. Everything's pitted. I thought I'd have a go at trying to polish it back up. First off, started with a bit of fine wire wool, then set to with my little polishing kit that I've had for donkey's years and hardly ever used. Probably spent the next hour and a half with the polishing mop on the drill. Didn't get very far, to be honest. Top rails came up alright, they weren't too bad, but the side frames, I just thought I can't be bothered with this anymore. So after turning around and saying that we weren't going to take the engine out, it looks like we're on for taking the engine out. Now I've bought myself a new toy. I've bought myself a little ring light so that we can actually see what we're doing. Back onto Suzuki's super duper build quality. As you can see, the exhaust nuts are completely rotted away, so we'd got Bob Oper trying to get them off with a socket set. I've always been told, heat things up, get them red hot. Hopefully they should come out. Well, unfortunately these rusty old nuts just didn't want to budge. Plan B came into operation. 4.5 inch angle grinder, chisel, hammer. If in doubt, give it a clout. After a lot of grinding and hammering, eventually, with a pair of pliers, they came off. So now I could remove the exhaust. Right, so next up's taking the radiator off. Had a bit of a scrap with this, to be honest. Came off in the end. I've got a feeling these hoses hadn't been removed since the day it was made, but with a bit of wiggling and poking and jiggering, eventually they came off, and it really doesn't matter how hard you try, you always end up getting your hands soaked. Another big problem with SVs, because they are a V-twin, front cylinder always ends up getting absolutely drenched with water. It was one of the massive problems with the one I called the Scrap Heap Challenge. The front cylinder had actually filled completely with water and seized the bike up. Pulling the plug cap off this one, and it was just full of rust. It was amazing. So now it was time to disconnect the wiring from the engine and also any of the hoses. Now this is one part of the job that I was really dreading. Taking out the engine mounting bolts. I had a feeling that every single one of them was going to be seized solid. But to my complete surprise, I had no trouble whatsoever with any of the bolts. A couple of the hex head retaining bolts were a little bit stiff, but again, no issues. This is going all too well, says the man with his glass half empty. Now then, this engine mount at the bottom is normally a real pig, so I bought some more shares in GT85, give it a good spray and left it for a while and gave it a go with the socket. Oh my word, it's come loose. Now at this stage in the game, somebody forgot to turn the video camera on, so we've missed all the little bits of using my one-off special tools to get the castellated nuts off for the engine mounts. So we'll just move on with taking the engine out. I bought this little trolley off eBay about 4 or 5 years ago. It's been invaluable from working on bike engines. After a quick wiggle, that's the engine, not me, I felt the engine drop, so I thought I'll check everything, make sure all the wires are loose, and it looks as though it's good to go. So I laid the bike on its side and pulled the engine out. Quite a lot of surface corrosion on the engine. You couldn't really see it when it was in the bike, but now it's out, I just thought I'd give it a quick clean up, wire wheel on my drill. Going to remove all the hoses off the engine and I'll probably end up giving the engine a quick lick of paint. Now I was quite glad that I've ended up taking this motor out because this has turned up. The front inlet manifold is cracked quite badly. Now, I quite wrongly thought, oh, this won't cost too much, so checked up on Robinson's Foundry website for a genuine Suzuki part, only to find out that they're $79.99 plus VAT plus delivery, so that's just over 100 quid. That's where we're up to at the moment, still waiting for some parts to come through, so I'll love you and leave you. Thanks for listening, thanks for watching, see you on the next instalment.